Okay, looks like the pullback has happened on the 4-hour chart. Moreover, sold at a higher price, or double bottom in the 4-hour, going back to last week. Trapped in a narrow range. We backfill down on the euro, and the euro versus the pound. Ultimate retracement into the double bottom. Nearly at the end of the week, I think we could overshoot the runway and go up a little bit here. So I think this is what's going to happen in the monthly euro versus the dollar. Same setup. Smash down, come back. Really? You think they're going to hold it there? So I think that's unholdable. And we're going to start cleaning out these stops here. And of course, there'll be mega sellers here. Right? Everybody's getting out here. There's no way you're not getting out there. If you bought down here, sure, and you could watch this, take this out like a zipper, and it could only take 2.5 weeks to go up, or 3 weeks sometimes. Look at this move. Look at this stampede. After you stop hunt this poor guy that's been trading this, and he's like, I'm going to tighten up my stop just because I don't want to lose, So the beauty of having the more than one ticket is that you can have a buy limit bank here, and maybe you got stopped out of your whole position, you're flat, but don't you want to buy in a pullback? Why would that change your mind about buying the pullback? So just, this, once again, somebody commented about me criticizing the no-nonsense guy. I mean, let's be realistic. The guy never talks about a trade. He doesn't say, let's admit we don't know where the market's going, and we'll wait for it to go sideways on the weekly. And even no nonsense could get his brain around this system. I know he could if he could just focus on one event, and that's the high and low of the week. And you're looking for a small high and low. All he has to do is turtle trade it. You see a small bar, you put a buy stop. How is that trade plan wrong? What, it's too stupid? Too simple? I suppose. If you imagine that your breakout system will not be triggered, and this is the every day you check the chart idea, and of course that's what they're doing, right? They're checking their scanned algorithm. You don't need an algorithm. It's like, it's right there in front of you. This is under 100 pips bar. Now this is very, very small bar. That is a very, very, it's an outside bar. The opposite of an inside bar. It's standing outside in the there are people selling here because they say, well, for God's sakes, look how overbought it is, and they're right. I mean, they're probably going to make some money on the pullback there. And I'm sure that back here there's a hole, and we filled into it, and this is kind of where the counter trend traders cleaned up, because they were willing to sell here at the 100 and all the way to this 100. So whether you put a 10K or $1 million in there with unique exits, and maybe you just have break evens in there, you got to have something where you're getting out of half the position in the next hour or 4 hours. I think that if you have a bank of orders that gets tagged, like say you put a bunch of limits here expecting this to have be a big problem, come down, perfect scalp to the void, and then commence more punishment. And now it's really picking up steam, because once it takes this out, this is a lot bigger hole than this baby hole. This baby hole fills, and it's able to heal that void, and then we're on to more. So right now you got this stacking up, and if we start to take out this stairway all next year, next couple years, I don't know, we know that people are going to sell here and they're going to make money pulling it back 100 pips. Right now, in between that ticket, that one stupid trade plan of selling at the round number and coming back and taking 20 pips with a 10 pip stop, that one ticket, that one idea, sure, you're going to have a cluster of orders up here. And the higher you go, the bigger the tickets are. So here you're selling $1 million. Here you're only selling $500,000. Here you're selling 250K. And you just let it go up there, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is nice. Because when you get in here, All you got to do is make it to here now, if you want it, on that one ticket. You don't have to make it to here. Because now you're scalping. Now you got like here you're selling like everything for a pullback to maybe even here, the last known pivot, which you already know exists. So you know these things exist in advance. So it's really not a secret what's going on. I think that's the disturbing thing is that you don't have to do any more analysis than look for the void and say, well, I think that this could be an issue. If we get below here, is anybody willing to buy down here as opposed to buying? Like if you bought here and you thought, oh, it's going to go up, and then you bought here and you're like, this is a bullish, dude, this is going up. I'm bullish. So what bull wouldn't want to buy here again? So he buys here again. He's like, this could be a triple bottom. This is support. Don't forget, this is what the no-nonsense guy is afraid of is reality. This is support at the 100-yard line. And will it be support in this future? Well, it should be because, this is support. I mean, that's how stupid this guy is. To talk about, he sounds like this shit fuck. Well, what I do is I tell half the story, some bullshit story made up. Some fucking spun fuck thing. And then, oh yeah, the banks. Dude, the banks, it doesn't matter. You don't have a trade plan anyways, so it doesn't matter. You got harebrained shit. So he's like, yeah, I got these testimonials on my website. For what? That you lost your mind following this shit? And the poor guys in the chat doing the things. Like, yeah, well, no, nonsense guy says you can't on Tuesday you can't have fish. Like these people are like adopting like the Applewhite template, Hale-Bop's next for this fuck. Yeah, what would trading Gartley's with horoscopes, It's been working out. We got a good money management system. It's too bad he doesn't say, well, this trade you could get in here, but you're probably going to have to scalp around it. I don't think you can survive a whole fucking move in these markets. Sure, you're going to have to, scalping is going to be something that is obvious money. You could have scalp bank limits sitting there. Market spikes down, retraces. You're looking for the retracement. So what if you bought too much into this 200 pip slam dance and it comes ripping back up? Actually, you could have, this is the other thing. Somebody's asked about the market orders. I could post all this bullshit again and these things, but I keep on writing new stuff, so I don't really, here is this stuff. I have market orders in here and stuff. You can just monkey with them and rename them because you might want to buy a 10K on one ticket trigger pull. I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense to me, but because if you're going to do that, you just write a script that buys a 1K and you just buy one pip below, just 10K, a pip apart. It's obvious. Who's like, okay, so if you're really that heavy a hitter, you're buying standard lots at the market. Okay, then put a 50K 5 pips deep. Well, I don't want to buy if it goes down there because really? Like, so you pick the exact fucking turning point and you're doing $1 million. Yeah, I guess if you're on the 5-minute chart and you just want to take like this obvious price pause. Yeah, I get it. You're on the 1 minute, you're like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of work. You can sit there. I would say 5 minutes after the bottom of the hour is an amazing, like that 5-minute reversal is so harsh right on that line of the half-hour chart. You watch that stuff, and the news typically, even if there's no news, 8:30 in the morning is like a big deal. 9:30 in the morning is a big deal. When stocks open, 6:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning right there, heavy, probably making new lows at that point. You're probably into like a day or 2 day or 3 day old lows. And so the market goes down and probes it like this thing, I'm sure people thought this would melt down into hell. And if I zoom out on the chart, you can make the argument, depending on how to frame these markets, you can make the argument for this thing would keep going down to hell. And I could see people, totally, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Because if I zoom out, you're like, yeah, dude, if you take out that blue line, forget about it. We're just going to go to hell. Right. And the channel traders would be like, you damn straight. Now, the channel traders are saying, no, we bought right there. And they bought because it was touching the channel. You bought because it was touching this price on close, and it actually closed there. So this is the one time where I guess the exception proves the rule. This is a quadruple bottom that becomes a quintuple bottom here in a 100 pip range. I'm going to give it 100 pips of mess around. So you'd have to lay your banks in appropriately to capture that trade. So on the weekly chart here, I mean, it's hard to believe, but you could have a buy limit sitting here. And eventually, you know, fucking 1 month later, they come down and hit it, and they rip the other way. And once again, they hit it here and they rip up. They hit it here and they rip up. So every time they tag that just around the 100, and it's usually a psycho moment. And don't forget, people that are trading breakouts are like, oh yeah, that's going to break out and keep tanking. You don't understand. I trade breakouts. Not that way. You don't trade them, I hope. So that's another thing. All this lag that this no-nonsense guy's putting in there, it's like, why would you do that? It's like putting 5 dresses on some chick. Well, yeah, she looks like a fucking sumo wrestler now. What the fuck do you do? Like, we put all this stuff on the screen, and we're going to go looking for the hottest girl that make these clothes. Like, she's like mummified. You've mummified the charts and bullshit. I just have this 20 EMA up here. At least the channel traders can draw a hard channel that the market, whether it respects it or not, it's a rate of change that's symmetrical. It's pretty debatable. I must say that you could go... That's why people fight about trading, because it's the most wide open territory. It's basically an ink block test. You're going to tell me, oh yeah, can't see that channel. Are you fucking retarded? So I drew that channel actually on close. I guess I kind of cheated a little bit, because I probably should do this channel too, where we've already broken this trend line though. So for me, I'm getting in on this old classic trend line breakout retest. You got this trend line, you break it, you come back, and like I said, for me, it's now, you know, it could be this. What do you do with the 20 EMA here? You go, it's bullshit. That's a bullshit baseline. Like, you're really not going to take, I mean, you could take this sell maybe because it's like slightly up and the baseline's trending down. And this is a good trend trade, right? Because it's small, and even no nonsense could just wait for it to get quiet. I mean, a non-directional trader could wait for that to get quiet, have a sell stop stacking up and go, yeah, well, I got a sell stop. It's been there for 2 weeks. I'm hoping they fill me. And then like a goober fuck, you make all this money down and you got a trailing sell reversal. They don't stop you out to here. At least you made this much. And this is another harebrained thing, is to have a trailing stop like this. If you sold this breakout and you ran a trailing stop, you mean you only made this much money? For God's sakes, it was down here. You trailed your stop, and then lo and behold, one day, fuck, they stopped you. You're like, damn, we only made like 50 pips. What happened to all this money here? And why would he trade reversals? I mean, how are these guys so caught in a box of, well, you know, you gotta have cereal in the morning. You know, no nonsense says only 1.5 cups of cereal. You know, you can just fuck up your trading day. People are kidding. And then the guys, these Nazis that are in these rooms, well, you can't talk like that in here. I'm sorry, buddy. You could take that to the beast mode. That's a beast mode thing. And you go there, there's nobody there. So beast mode, we need to fucking blow our brains out mode, right? Put meth in your vape meth. Are they vaping meth yet? Yeah, I just couldn't get high fast enough. So I thought, why don't you just put some of that meth in the vape pipe? Let's see, the damn kids are doing these days. This thing looks like it's going to crush. It's going to deny this bullshit support resistance crap. So here's when, I guess the problem is that if you told a robot, well, this bottom's become tops, you're going to sell here, he'd sell here like an idiot and just get crushed, because I think they're just going to annihilate this thing until about here. And then we can all come in with our buy limits. Like I said, I would just trail buy limits all the time on this shit. Most of the stuff, I'm just going to trail buy limits like here. For the rest of the week, if I was going to trade this tonight, if I was going to lay a bank in, I'd just fucking throw orders in there. I don't give a fuck. Let it come back 10 pips. I'll buy the first, or 20 pips. I'll buy the first 20 pip pullback. That's some dumb shit move. But see, you know, the trend traders are waiting for this. And if you are going to trade counter trend, I mean, counter move. So this says you're in a downtrend, 20 EMA. We all know this dumbass system. Yeah, that trade works. Sure, take that trade. But I would say when you're going to go to exit, now this one you actually would have made money, because instead of putting a sell stop here and doing a confirmation entry, if you sold into that price pulse, the market orders, you have to execute them at the end of the day or the end of the price pulse, at the end of the hour. So in the hourly chart, if this is the 1 hour chart and you see this down here, you're going to just buy it. But you wouldn't have to if you just put buy limits in this pocket, is what I'm saying. Okay, 1K, 2K, 3K, you know, do the math. Pack it in. You've got more orders down here just in case it goes to Psychoville and you get this thing that happens here now instead of here. So at some point the market's going to cave into itself and it's going to be a bloodbath. Look at this thing getting all excited. The euro is just going to go, it's going to go off the hook into, I think you'd almost overestimate the, I always want this to happen right now, but this is definitely a target. I don't think we make it there by the end of the year maybe, but certainly here, you know, I would say this looks like it's going to scream right to here. And people are going to be like, what the fuck, man? We're selling into that. I mean, so selling, and if that would be if you were selling, and it wouldn't be a bad trade to sell here, because you say there's a 20 EMA telling me to sell. That's my baseline. Once price crosses the 20 EMA, you're allowed to just pull the trigger like an idiot, right? Buy some at the market. Don't buy everything at the market. Just buy like an idiot and then have trailing buy limits and say, okay, you know what? I'm not crazy about the trade, but it is kind of making money. And then all of a sudden, maybe you got out here because you got spooked by this, but then it rips and you're like, whew, I could have just bought here. I mean, this is painful. This took like a month. This was like, boom. So we could see some of that where it's just like, right to here, and then everybody's going to sell and dump, and they're going to buy back here. You know, buying the plunge, so to speak. So very, very vicious markets. Looks like the same thing happened in the euro versus the yen. We kind of healed that hole. On the monthly, I think we made it back to the sell window there. I would cash out. I don't know if I put in too many sells here because this scares the shit out of me too. The way this thing could just take the stairway out and just be a just complete obliteration into the end of the year. God knows they took this thing all the way back and stop hunted this poor goober. So the guy that bought there with a limit, that's not a bad trade. I know it's a monthly chart, but wow, I was waiting how long for that, Phil? Now it looks like we're just going to go nuts. The euro is just going to go off the cliff now. So the promised land's coming. We're still just slightly above Sunday's run. So we started Sunday. We had the lackluster rally. Then we got that pounding pullback into here. So when I see this, I'm like, oh, God, I'm buying. Now, I know here it's a little bit much. I mean, this is the monthly chart. So here buying every 100 pips, hopefully you can hold on. You got a 500 pip stop on this shit because look at this. I mean, you don't really make your money back and then some till you make it here. You can make 100 pips on that first ticket. Actually, if you waited for it to close down, you bought here and you bought here. There's only 2 buys in there. It's hard to believe, but that's why I think you do want to have the limits packed in, and maybe you got like even more limits down here just in case, because that could be amazing. Now it looks like we're just going to take off like a rocket. It's halfway through this month, and it is the end of the year, the end of the month, the end of the week. It's going to be nuts. And how pissed off is this euro yen? Man, euro's just going to crush. And once again, you could do the old fundamentals. Well, that's because of Brexit. It's easily explained. Now that Europe doesn't have to fuck around with these Brits, it was a two-way street of hell. So you could say, well, look, they're free from these fuckers now. They can just go be ridiculous by themselves. And maybe that is true. So we don't know actually what's going on. You know, I mean, to me, they would say you could see it on the chart. It doesn't matter. The chart rules. I don't think the news is going to be a factor for most of this stuff. I mean, certainly it's nice to make sense out of the news and say, oh, look at this. There was some news that came out on this currency. Look at this 1 hour euro versus the Australian. Look at all the psychotic trades in here. Let me line this up here. Put this template in. So look what a beautiful entry this would be. I think you can see in my book. This is a 40 pip window of buy. Anything from here down, I would be buying. So when it comes ripping back, where do I want to cash out? I want to cash out here at the Williams fractal. Right, this is Williams fractal. Right. So for most people, the exit is going to be this Williams fractal, and you could sell there. Revolving door, I would say the wicks here. From this 20 pip window, and you could actually just trade it to the middle. So fair value is going to be here. This is obviously unfair once you get up into that void here. There's another big void, big trap. And I would say I'm long. If I put my buy limits in here in this pocket, that is a 20 pip scalp. Right, I can have my tickets laid in here. I could trade like 200K. And it's only a 1 hour trade. I'm not going to get in too heavy there. I get in heavier if I built a position and every time it pulled back, I kept buying like so. If I bought this plunge and it came to here and I'm like, oh man, let's buy in pullbacks, and so this is the obvious trend trade. And you're really loaded up here, and you're like, well, it's either going to take this wick out or it's going to take out this stairway here. Right? There's only two possibilities. When it pulls back to here and you cock the gun, okay, so this is either going to spill this way, but you're loaded up and you got stops here, and you're taking that risk. And then you could sell here and say, well, I'm just going to get out there in case it comes ripping back, which is completely valid because it does do that. Like here, it takes out this wick and it just goes ripping back, and people are like, holy shit, that's a 4 hour chart, by the way. So even after the sellers come in here and they totally engulf this, it's like a full auction to come and touch this window. So it just literally edge to edge cycle moves, and you're like, wow. I mean, it's just a bizarre thing because it has nothing to do with this trend here that people are using all their algos on. So when I saw that auction thing, I said, I think that's where the big money's at, is the trap. And it really wouldn't matter to me at this point. Like, I see these pockets now, and I would never think to buy here on limits. If I was building an algorithm that said, oh, even though this is not a bad entry here, buy at the market when we're down into my moving average. Okay, so, but then, of course, the next question is, well, should I have a moving average like this and take advantage of these moves, or should I have one that's really laggy and it only filters out and takes the premium moves? And what's the criteria for entry, blah, blah, blah. I can only imagine. That's why robots don't work, because, this market's just too fucking... This market would beat the shit out of any robot that you built. Or even an algorithm that you built to like, well, I'm going to take care of these price movements in a very smooth manner. I know people are making money from the Ranko, but they're not, and all these other things. I know they're making money from it, but yeah, from a clunky way, like playing guitar and actually, not offending people, or, playing out of tune. Sure, to play something, or to drive a car that's got good tires on it, most people can do it. But can you drive a car with bad tires? Because that's what trading is. Can you drive a car that's just not even drivable? You can't fucking make the correlation that you're going to put a speedometer on this market and you're going to sit there and you're going to, well, I got a signal to get in. These guys are like, I don't want to signal today. And the one guy said, I have a signal, but I'm not going to take it. Well, okay, and that's not, you're not supposed to do that. I don't know if that's the no nonsense creed, but you're really supposed to, if you build an algorithm, you're supposed to like be a robot trader. And if it's making money, why you contradicting what you built? So if you build, something that I guess you have to live with, but you could build more than one. So you can trade these breakout strategies. You can trade these swing strategies. You can trade these goofy astrological sign entries. I think all that stuff's definitely valid. And of course, that's all you want to do. And you find that to be entertaining. Sure, go for it. So, this guy says I'm hating on the no nonsense guy. I'm not hating him. It's just going, what the fuck? What happened to this guy? And he's got all these subscribers, and he thinks that people like that's like, I don't know. I guess he's just doing it for fun. But he's trying to get these prop traders, and I guess, I don't know if he's a recruit. I don't know. Looking for the person that's gonna. What we need you to do, son, is come to work on time, okay? Now, you can't be out banging in the car with the girlfriend, coming in all with your hair mussed up. So what you're going to have to do is behave. I'm sure that's what Biden had to talk with his son. Now, you're going to have to get off that cocaine you're on. And what we need you to do is kind of like show up a couple times at some of the meetings. I know you're making about 51 mil a month. Which I know you're losing 30 mil a month trading that there forex. So I know you needed the money. Oh God, people. So that's the other thing. All these people want to trade, make $1 million and get rich. It's so cute. And then what are you gonna do? It's like you're still the same asshole before you made that money. In fact, it could be worse. Like, you make all that money, you're like, you know what? Don't even fucking notice anything. It still feels like, I still feel like I could get a better mattress or something. There's always something wrong. I should probably start eating healthier food. Yeah. I don't know. I suppose if you want to join a prop house, it seems like a real corporate thing to do. Like, it's like a day job. I mean, that isn't that a job, and then you're renting a desk from somebody. I'd be like kind of creeped out, It'd be like renting a hooker just to feel intimate. It's like, well, what we're doing, we have a desk you can rent, and what you can do is you can run your indicators on our desk. For how much a month? Oh, gosh. Well, I don't have to feel like I need to make money trading. There's no pressure to trade now. I think that's the trick. No pressure. Just don't even feel like, it's just, you don't even feel it. Okay, euro, the assault of the euro. What can I tell you? The euro is going to beat the shit out of this Australian dollar. I think it's pulled all the way back to fair value. It's caught in this box. This is a 4-hour chart, and that by the end of the week, we're going to somehow get up here and just go break out and go nutsville. But here's a good trade. I mean, I'd say that if you sold up here and you rolled that back into this top and left 60 pips on the table, you still done good. You done real good. You could have sold above here. You could have sold because this is like a double top. There's so many fucking trades in here. That's what I don't understand. How did the no-nonsense guy just didn't figure out that, well, no matter how many special indicators and volume and ATR and all that bullshit, he couldn't perceive that maybe if he would have just range trade it and just go with what's really going on. My God, man. Okay, here's the critical window. 5 minutes after the top of the hour. Halfway through the month. End of the year is coming. 2-week scramble. And once these guys let go of this thing and it unravels into the end of the year in stock market, I mean, who's not cashing out? as the stocks just go bolting into no man's land on the top side. So everybody's going to cash out of these markets. I'm thinking end of the year, they're going to go ballistic. It's going to be just insanity. Look at this fucking wackadoodle pair. What in the hell is going on with this pound New Zealand? Oh, I would buy that on a pullback. So I have no problem. I could just buy any day of the week. I could just I could look at a market and go, yeah, okay, let's just start putting buy limits in there. I don't care if we even get filled. So the first thing to do is undertrade it. Put a buy limit here and one here and one here and walk away and just see what happens. That's a daily chart. It's not like they're going to come down here and fill that in like 3 hours. What is the big deal about these people putting the orders in the market? We get at the end of the day, it's the no-nonsense way. Yeah, but you're missing all these amazing trades. Like, look at how small this move is, this consolidation. Holy shit, and then kaboom. Yeah, as it goes clearing this price out, people are like, what just happened? They're like, I think I'd be saying what just happened here. If you bought down here, because this is your first rally into support, one last sell, right? Even the divergence traders are getting here on the closing prices, like just RSI. How does RSI not work? You wait for the end of the fucking day, and it could keep tanking. Just like this is probably a divergence that only gave you this move. Of course. Don't be ridiculous. But the RSI guys cleaned up here. They probably bought, sold, because as soon as the market goes sideways, you trade the shit out of that RSI. Of course, if you sell here, because it's overbought, of course there's a big chance they could go smashing up here. But that comes down to looking at the holes in the market. So at some point, you're going to have to look outside of the indicator to see what the market sees, because the market can't see your indicator. That's the argument. That's why the indicator thing, that is such a one-way, that's like that self-driving car bullshit. You're just going to get killed. I told you not to put it on self-driving all the time, son. Now look at you. Your face all mussed up. A big welt on your face. But yeah, this could have something to do with this pullback. Right? This could be resistance up here. You think of that? I can't believe it. And they pulled back here and goddamn it came all the way back to this top. It's nuts. I can't understand it. But on the daily chart, all you'd have to do is, I'm sure the no-nonsense guys probably bought here with confirmation, put a stop in here, and they're like, dude, we made money on that trade. You gotta leave us alone and stop being mean. All right, I can see your goober trades. I can see it. We sold here. This is moving average is going down. Now shut up. Okay, I see that trade. But don't you want to know why the market went, why this got really quiet? And then don't you want to know why that you should have maybe just kept your said, well, I'm going to put a target way the fuck down here. Because this blue line shows you that there's support there. And at some point there, the blue line went back here probably. I'm assuming, yeah, because we took this out. We made the blue line move down. So at this point, that was the first psycho retracement buy. This was a psycho retracement buy. And we're going to have another one. Right here, I just went long there. My system would go long there. It would see this double bottom system. I mean, it's just a recognition of insane lows. Unfair value. Anything below here is just unfair. And it's a trap for breakout traders. Because the breakout traders have to get in on a bar-by-bar daily basis. You can't trade a breakout system. I guess you're going to claim you can't because you put a buy stop here. I got you. Put a buy stop here and they filled you. No, you should have had a buy stop here down in this little baby bar. You want to be getting in here with all this fucking risk? And the guy's like, well, we're here not to lose money. What a ridiculous approach. I mean, what are these guys doing? Well, first we start out with inflatable dolls, and then we get real girls later. We've got to back test this performance. You gonna back test that? Fuck, just get a goddamn account. Just pull a trigger. It'll be okay. Don't buy a $5 million position because you got a Gartley set up. People, goddamn, step away from all this technology. You're gonna blow your brain's gonna melt. I don't get it, man. Look at the pound come back and retest. Look at this thing. This just blows people's minds that it comes all the way back. Look at this. This is okay. So here's Brexit. What does this tell you about people? About price, right? Come all the way back to the starting gate. They're like, well, son of a bitch. I just don't get that. I know, it's unbelievable. And what if it takes out the floor here? People will be like, well, I guess the Brexit deal just didn't work. I don't know. I say go to the next time frame up. Look at that thing. God, we talk about a pullback. So even if you got slippage on those fills, and I know it's hard to believe because most people don't have a trade plan for this, but if you did sell on a limit here and they didn't fill you to here, I'm sorry, they filled you here and all of a sudden you're underwater, you wake up. But here is where if you sold that, you made a clean 200 pips in a couple days. Then you could have sold here, or you'd buy this and just buy this 100 pip bounce. But it's more than 100. It's going to be 20 to 150 pips or something. It's going to be a range. You just can't put in one ticket. I don't think so. Look at come back to this top and bounce off and rip. Yeah, buyers are like, yeah, that's support. Only for about a couple hours, and then actually it closes up here. And people are like, I don't know. This looks like support. It's becoming resistance here. And then, whoosh. Look at that thing clean house. Gee, I wonder what happened there. I wonder if it had anything to do with this being the support that everybody's like, well, I buy in pullbacks. It came back to here, and it's going to go here. And they're like, uh-oh. And this little top become a bottom. If you can see, this little bottom becomes a top here. And people are like, this is a pivot. This is a triangle. And at that point, the blue line looked like this. It was all stacked up. And people are like, oh, and then tumble all the way back to before. So all of that ground is completely given up. It's incredible. I mean, really, most people are not going to be able to build an algo for that. In the weekly, it looks clean and pure. You can't even see that. You just don't even see the news on that. All you see is that if we would have sold here in the 100 pip window and you would have got filled, there's no slippage up here. You rode that back all the way back, and maybe you're waiting to come back to here so you can buy, and maybe it just does a dead cat bounce. So the structure, within the structure, this kind of thing is just, it's really so mind-boggling because it may not happen like that in that dramatic a sense for another 2.5 years. On the weekly chart, I mean, these are astounding moves. Look at this trap up here, and you could make the claim for this is shoulder, head, shoulder, perfect symmetry. I'd say even the breakout traders that got filled here with wide stops, if they survive this move, that's a huge pay week. And here, I would be buying down here, obviously, for the scalp of it all. I could buy a 200 pip window scalp on this. This is pretty vicious. Now, this could implode. People aren't ready for this one. If you ever traded this trade and lost money, you'd probably realize that, yeah, just because you can make these support and resistance arguments, there's nothing preventing this market from just melting down below here and just coming to here and just starting to tank. It could just start cleaning house and take all this away. It could. It's hard to believe, but it could. And, there's stops stacked up here. There's people that have been long foreverville, and here comes the news. It's Brexit, sir, And then that's the tippy top? Maybe, I don't know. But it wouldn't matter to me because I'd be buying like this stuff, okay? I'm gonna get in here, and I'm gonna get out there. But I'm gonna get in here, here. And I'm gonna get out here. Because I don't see another way to do it. I guess if you put a lot of effort into each entry, then you could say, this looks like this is just going to annihilate the yen right now. The dollar's just going to go crushing through that. So this looks like an unstoppable beast. On the monthly, it looks unstoppable. Like we are just going to start crushing that. The top of that. We are trapped up there, though. We are closed up in the seller's window. We're coming into that, but wow, it's just too much pent-up pressure, I think. This could still keep going. Yeah, the euro looks like it's going to make an astounding move here. Here's the daily euro versus Australia. Now, this has had some mind-boggling runs, and I'm sure that the algos were not able to make money from stuff like this, where you're going to look at this low, and you want to buy right here. Okay, you made a few pips, and you're selling into this doji. A lot of sellers there. A lot of the 5-period moving average guys are selling there. Then we have the infamous. After they fill these tickets, you still have tickets here that didn't fill, and they finally fill. Like if you left them there forever. Well, look at this move. Now, nobody would have put in a $1 million position at the precise landing spot, or just get in, I would say, just below this wick. And just get in really heavy. Do you really think your target would have been this? Maybe it would be above here if you really wanted to go with the true structure exit. Yeah. You bought here, and you get out here. It's a complete engulf. You are done. It's this auction meets this auction, comes back, crushes through this. It's just mind-boggling how it just blows through these supposed support and resistance levels. How it stalls out in these windows, just very quiet, and this would be very difficult. For the trend traders are like, I just keep getting like whipsawed, and I know it's going up. Even the sell guys are like, well, we sold here, and then, God, we thought it would keep going down, but we sold here, so they keep selling into this downtrend here. So there's a guy that has this moving average, he's getting in here, and there's a guy that has this one, he's selling here. So at this point, a lot of people are probably getting different signals where when this is going up, I bet a lot of people are like, well, we're buying that, that's, and this is the only pullback, the only stop hunt, and then it just rips, and really it's going through this, and once it gets above that, it's like, it just doesn't even matter, man. It's just blowing off that top. It just crushes that top. And it could do that now. So right now there's a huge bunch of pressure sitting here and a huge pressure sitting here, and how this weaves its way, and at some point it's got to either dip into that window and come back into center, or it's going to just go berserkoid, because it just won't be able to withstand the vacuum's too looming. And it could tank, I suppose. And if that's true, I've always got my buy limits down here anyway, so. Sell limits could be in this window. You could be like completely not even in the market, just waiting for it to dip into these psycho windows, go in fair and come back into fair. Or you build some ridiculous algorithm that occasionally works. Man, this is just a mess, isn't it, this market? Look at this thing. Wow, this is pretty quick and dirty money here, though. Look at this 20 pip grid. This is vicious moves. I say if you zoomed in on that, you could probably trade a breakout system. Bar by bar. And be like, okay, here's small bars. Let's put a buy stop and a sell stop. Oh, look at that. We made money. Look at this. As we get above here, we know we kind of got to think about getting out. As a lot of people did. And here, I would just put my buy limits in here. I'd have a big fat limit in here, which I'm just about to break even. And here's my biggest ticket is going to be this low. So here's where you buy more than you bought on this wick. And this one's a break even. You're hoping to get out here. Complete the whole ticket. The whole trade, you could still be in here on a swing trade that doesn't get out till here. So if you scalp around your... so in other words, it wouldn't matter whether you put sell limits above this thing to capture this move, even though you're short from here, you know, and this is just a pullback to you, and you're like, okay, that's a stop hunt for the bears, and I'm going to add to my position there, and okay, I get out here maybe, or I get out there. That's certainly the better trade. And of course, another selling opportunity here. So it wouldn't matter whether you bought or sold. So if you're looking at this as being a hole the market wants to fill, and you sell up into that, if you cash out of your worst ticket there and then let the rest go, you made this much. You know, the dream is we're going to start cutting into that, but we got to calm down. There's no sense in getting in here unless you bought at the market right now. At the end of the 4-hour period, you'd buy at the market. Or you, like I said on here, it's more likely you have limits because everybody's 4-hour chart's a little different. Here, this is going to update the 4-hour chart in about 37 minutes here. And that's going to be... So I'm going to go to the 1-hour chart because it's a lot easier to make trade plans on the 1 hour. So if you're going to buy gentle pullbacks in the 1 hour, this is your only trend trade at the market. Here's a buy at the market. Here's a buy at the market. So buy at the market. Every time it's down, you buy at the market. Here, obviously, it's a problem because you're buying at the end of this whole move. So you buy at the market, buy at the market, buy at the market every time it's down. But I guess you got to look at this is supposed to be your support. So maybe you just buy here at the market, here at the market, and this isn't so bad because you're really it's about them hunting below that support. This is the launching pad. Everybody's counting on this being the next support, but it becomes resistance. And that's a structure issue, you know. At the market, you just bought. So here you just bought, right? At 8 o'clock, you went long. And you're sitting there. And you're going to hold this trade. Now, you could just go, you know what? I'm going to buy some. I'm going to just hit the button 5 more times. So about 5 more K. Or 50 more K. Whatever you have your trigger set to. And you can ride that price pulse. And when it gets to here, you're just going to get out. And you're going to go, you know what? That's fine. I don't have to ride this whole fucking thing out. Besides, if I ride it all the way up, that means I've got to... if you're going to do that, then why not do the whole thing and just be ridiculous and put in... like here, I'd put in, say, this buy limit. I double-click this, and there's a buy limit. It's almost like buying at the market. Here's a 7 pips deep. Here's 9 pips deep. Here's 1 hour. Way down there. So that's how that works. I mean, it just... but yeah, I usually... I'll buy at the market like... big down move like that, I'm getting in the market. Like this. This whole meltdown, I bought into this whole meltdown here. So when we got below here, I loaded the wagon. And limits galore down here. Never made it back to here, unfortunately. There's Friday. This is Friday's close. This is about halfway to here. A lot of people selling. Then one more buy here. And this was the golden opportunity for me, was as soon as we took this out, I thought, yes, this is the best place to get in to make this move. Then we have the, so this is the blue line was looking like this at that point. So we got that apex, and we got very narrow, and we just spilled out. And this was my scalp off of that. And then here, just had a, I had to rewrite a script actually with a 100 pip target. So here I'm buying with a 30 pip stop. Now these are 20 pip handles, so I'm like, oh, I'm buying that. And I just kept buying as fast as the broker would let me. And because there were one case, you know, and I said, oh yeah, we're going to take this out. We're going to take that out. By the end of the week, by the end of the month, we'll be up about 200 pips. So I know I want to be in that trade. It looks like it's going to be quite the rally for the pound. I mean, for the euro dollar. Euro yen, and the euro to the pound is going to be insane, I think. This is going to blow people's minds. It's going to have 100 pips here by Friday. Whoosh. I love that. That's just astounding. Look at this thing. People are selling into that. Well, I got a 20 EMA that's down, and of course it is above my baseline. Actually, the EMA responded to that. I mean, look at this beautiful system here. I think it's working beautifully. Don't make fun of our trading system, son. We worked hard at these algos. Back tested this shit for hours. Plus, we had to go back to OT level 8 and 3. Look at that thing. It's above the baseline. I can't be a seller. Here's where that... See, here's why that doesn't work. Because here you'd say, that, oh, it's above baseline. I can't be a... I'm a buyer, see. It's broke above baseline. Let's get in here. Let's get it on confirmation. It's bullish and the thing just turned up. Well, that sounds like a brilliant idea. Where are you going to put your stop? Oh, I don't know about... Oh, 800 pips should be safe. Damn, if they didn't stop us out down here. Henry, I said, you can't put an 800 pips stop on that. 50 standard lots? What the fuck? Now we got to get a new home. A new camper. Our van down by the river's fucked up. Got to change the oil again on that thing. It's going to be amazing. The end of the year is just always amazing. People just can't believe it. There's nobody trading. How about those wicks from last year? Good God, man. That was insane. On the yen pairs. It's going to be the same insanity. Look at this wick here. This is the end of the year. This just blew people's minds. Here's the end of the year wick. Look at this retracement. Did you ever? That's mind-boggling. Not really, because this sell-off was astounding all the way back to here. Then there's no algo for that. There's no fucking way. What were people saying during this move? I'd love to go to the trade chat windows. Well, it's kind of like overbought. I'm selling. You know, it isn't a downtrend. It's in a downtrend. I can't believe you're buying. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Look at this thing. 2 months. 1, 2, 3 months. Gave back all that price. Vicious brutal. Yeah, this doesn't look like much here, but this is the astounding. Wow. It's time to go hunt this stuff down. Well, there you go, bottom of the hour. Lock and load, people. Go to the half hour. Holy shit. It's time to go hunt the bears. Well, they really pulled that back. This should be my first target. So we got all that work to do. The high of last week. It's the high this week. Friday's close. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday's brutal. Carves all this big hole out. So you had to be a buyer below here. You're almost to break even on that ticket now. All right. I'm looking for fireworks. I'll take this out by the end of the week, end of the year. 2 days. You got 2 days. Go above here. I'm selling above here. Just cash out. I just want to cash out. Go flat into the weekend. So we don't have to worry about what kind of psychosis could come into Monday. Not a big fan of holding over the weekend, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Like these last 2 weeks, you just close down so hard. It's just like, wow, who doesn't want to buy that insane close? This one down here. So here was Friday. Big sell-off on Friday, but it actually recovered and it engulfed. This Friday, I bought into that one and I bought into this Friday. I was like, really? Can it be that easy that on Friday we take out the mid-low of the week and people are like, yeah, look at this thing. Fast down, hard buy. Down, hard buy, and then down hard into the end of the Friday buy. A little drift up. So midweek here, how are we going to end up? I'm curious how we're going to end up at the end of the week here, but fortunately for my greedy aspect of this is that we're going to close up here by the end of the week. Just it's going to make this psychotic, mind-blowing run, and people are going to be like, what the fuck? It's going to be like this move. And they'll be like, no, that's not right. Boosh. So that's my target up there. Huh. We'll see. And at the end of the year, so there's the daily. Oh boy. Well, this whole year is going to be an uptrend for this thing. Like I said in the last video, I think it's going to be, let's go hunt all these stops from all these bears. Otherwise, this has to be where people are going to sell it. This has to be the ultimate place to sell for the long term. I'm talking about long-term trades here. I don't think if I sold here, I definitely want to take 100 pips off, because how long are we going to be? Just don't think it's going to happen. So go to the monthly and zoom in. I think that tells the best story. Monthly zoom in. Yeah, it looks like a perfectly decent sell, rally in a downtrend. But there's something wrong this time. It just has that look to it. He says we got our first pullback. There should be wave 3. Oh, all right. So let's see what happens.